Hey.
Hey guys!
Oh, at least I only got to play catch up on one movie this week. I suppose the last time I went to Chicago and had to catch up on 7. That's okay. This was as long as 7 movies.
I was gonna say, I feel like I've sat through 7 movies, but it also kind of fuck, it's been like, I think it's been like a month since I've been out to do one, just from one thing or another, between like Letty having like some tooth stuff going on, and
Yeah.
I'm sure if anybody's looked at my Twitter, my Facebook, you might have noticed that I'm having crazy tooth trouble as well. I got like fuckload of teeth in my head going bad, and like this one here is about half a tooth. There's one back here that's just gone. This one up here, apparently if I can get in there, I got an appointment for like next week to get that fixed, so they can actually save it, so I won't be missing suddenly just a tooth in the front of my fucking mouth. So if anybody feels like donating or retweeting or sharing my thing, just check out like my Twitter or Facebook, or I know you've been cool like sharing it. So is Matthew and Allison. So it's around. If anybody can help, please do, because I am fucking broke and running out of teeth. I'm so sick of eating soup. So fucking sick of eating soup.
Especially since we don't have a Zoops in Springfield.
Right, so it's just like Campbell's again. So pirates.
This is gonna be one like that we talk about the screening a little bit at first. So
yeah, this was an unexpected experience, because I'd only heard that they were putting in the new screen. I haven't been here, like I said, I haven't been out to a movie for the site here in probably like a month, just from one thing or another coming up, or just scheduling of things. And I knew that they were putting in an IMAX screen. I did not know that they had put in the IMAX screen already.
Yeah, they'd been working on that for about a month or so now, and like theater 7 or 8, one of the two. It's 8. It's theater 8. Had been closed for about that month, because like during.
Of course, thinking about the last one that I went to wasn't even at the one over here. It was over at.
Oh, did we go to Parkway?
Yeah.
What was it?
Fuck. What did we go see over there?
Was it? It couldn't have been Personal Shopper. You've been to something since Personal Shopper.
No, it wasn't that one, but it was something else after that. It was like.
I'm only like, I'm like, okay, I was there with Dave for Lost City of Zed. My God, I can't remember. But in this, so it was. I believe it was the first night for like the IMAX here in town. Since so we finally got an IMAX now. And look, if you just want to skip to the review of the movie, somebody down in the comments will put, they start talking about the movie at there.
They're done with bullshit at this mark.
Yeah. So, anyway, so I'm so glad my first IMAX experience in Springfield is this movie, but whatever. So everything is starting out like honestly perfectly fine with it. You know, it's got the nice, fresh, new theater smell. Seats were comfortable.
Those big ass like recliner seats.
Yeah.
I got a big fucking issue with those seats.
With the seats? I didn't so much have a problem with the seats, because everything else was annoying me.
Well, it was at the top of the film though, because nothing bad had happened yet. So I'm like, okay, well this is nice. The place looks nice. Lots of iridescent blue lighting everywhere, like it's a futuristic spaceship.
Yeah.
No, my problem with the seats is it's super comfortable seats. But they kind of like rock a little bit. So every time somebody walked behind us, I'm just jostled forward, because every time you touch, it rocks back real nice and easy. But also if somebody pushes on it from behind you, you just get pitched forward.
Oh, that happened to me a couple of times.
It's like being on a fucking packed flight. If that was a packed screening, like it would be obnoxious, like people just bumping you every 5 fucking seconds.
For about an hour, like things like the 3D is significantly better when you see 3D on an IMAX 3D.
Yeah, nice and clean. I mean, saw the problem, like, dark scenes are pretty dark, but it wasn't as bad.
Yeah, it's not as bad on seeing it as on
Which
a
is
regular
good because
screen.
half of this movie is fucking nighttime
No,
shots.
yeah, totally. And then probably 45 minutes into this movie, this was so bizarre. Like, about 45 minutes, maybe even longer. It could have been like an hour into this movie.
It's hard to tell.
It is. It so is. Like, so, an hour into the film that, I'm going to be honest, was really not enjoying.
An hour in, they're almost about to start getting out to the sea.
It's after, like, it was maybe 15 minutes after the guillotine sequence, like when they escape that whole part, and then they get on the ship, and the ship goes out to sea, and then Barbossa is talking to Javier Bardem. It was that. Or actually, no, that was when the projector stopped. No, let me rewind. So about 15 minutes before then, one of the projectors that handles the 3D went out, and it was such a bizarre experience because
I've never had just one drop. Like, I've had the movie like fuck up in general before on a 3D screening, but yeah, the way that that polarized 3D works is it's two different images projected at two different ways, and there's two different lenses, so one eye can only see one image, one eye can only see the other image,
which is
science can be cool. But then when one of the cameras drops out, suddenly you just go fucking blind in one eye.
And I've had 3D, and that's, like, that is how a lot of 3D, how some 3D is, but, like, whenever I've seen 3D pop out in a movie before, it's just suddenly, it's just blurry again. This was odd. It was like, because the one lens goes completely dark, so it just looks like your eye coughed on the lens. I was like, what happened? I was like, I was so bored in this movie that I honestly for a second thought that I like lowered my glasses and then maybe kind of breathed on it and put it back, even though I didn't. They never like left my face or anything like that. So it was odd. So I'm like, did something splash on here? And I'm looking up like this and like wiping it off, and then you leaned over to me and said mine just did the same thing.
Because at the same time, like I'm looking at it like, so that's fucking weird. Like, what's going on with my thing? I see you looking at your glasses. I see like the guy in the row in front of us, like he's got his glasses held up like over his head. Like, what the fuck? Like he's looking for something to fall out of him.
About five people walk out into the lobby. So basically, the movie now looks like it's in 2D. Which
as long as you close one eye. If you kept both of them open.
Well, no, if you took your glasses off, it was just 2D.
Oh, well, I left it on. I left my glasses on. I didn't think to do that part.
Oh no, because I had them off when I was...
like how regular 3D is. I just figured it was gonna go all fucking blurry.
No, because I had them off when I was looking at them.
I was in here with one eye closed. I'm like, open it. I'm like, oh, that's disturbing.
Yeah,
I can't focus my eyes.
Oh no, I just sat there with my glasses off, and it was totally just in 2D. So this goes on for a while, and I figure like, okay, they'll end up fixing it. Fine. Then it's the part where after the guillotine scene and they're on the ship and they go out to sea, and then Barbossa's talking to Javier Bardem, then suddenly it pauses, like it just freezes. And one of the employees comes out and says, sorry, we're having some problems with the projector. It's our first night of doing this. Which I totally understand. Shit happens. Like, I've managed a movie theater. I get it.
You cannot plan on the first night of something. Like, it's fucking impossible.
Yeah, it's like, I totally get that. But then she says, so we're just going to go ahead and take it back to when, before the 3D went out. And I'm like, you've got to be fucking kidding me.
There was an entire action, like action movie set piece that happened while one was fucked up. Like, it's not like it was like, it's like, oh shit, it just cut out 30 seconds ago. What, you rewind it like 2 minutes? Got it.
But even still, it's like, oh, thank God, because I was so confused as to what was going on because it was in 2D.
Totally lost me, guys.
What the fuck? So then she takes a poll for the audience and goes, how long ago did the 3D go out?
And again, it's impossible to tell time in this movie.
Yeah.
So, the first guy to open his mouth in the loudest tones, like, 10 minutes!
One girl shouted out, "Who cares?" And then other people's like, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. I'm like, you fucking idiots! Just, were you that lost in the last 15 minutes because it wasn't in 3D? First of all, that question shouldn't have been asked to begin with. Oh, God. So, they ended up taking it back, but they took it back way farther. Like 30 minutes.
Like, yeah, it went significantly back. Like I'm like, well, maybe it won't be too bad. But no, it was about the same as like when we went to see As Above, So Below, and the fucking thing went out because the power went out. And they took it back, like, it's like, well, so to catch you guys up, we'll take it back about, what, 30 minutes? It's like, Jesus Christ.
Why?
It's like, I remember where we were at. Nowhere.
What the fuck? So
yeah, they went back like 2 scenes before the action scene.
It was far. Like, it was before, it was well before the guillotine scene, because it was before Jack Sparrow was captured and arrested. It was a fucking while. So I looked at you and went...
Even then, it drops it in the middle of dialogue, and it's like, oh, okay, we're here.
Oh, but now it's in 3D, so I know what's going on. So, like, I looked at you and went, do you want to hang out in the lobby for like 20 minutes? I don't want to rewatch it. The same thing happened to me during the first Michael Bay Ninja Turtles movie. And I went and hung out in the lobby and shit. And again, it was a manager coming out, we're just going to take it back because of the 3D. And I remember the audience in that movie going, do you have to? Really? Isn't this going to fuck up your next showtime? Like, seriously.
Yeah, now thinking about it, every showing is going to be like 20, 30 minutes behind now.
So, like...
Unless they're not even planning on cleaning the theater, they're just going to be like, you know what, reload it.
Mm-hmm. So, ironically, the shortest of these movies, we were in there for the most amount of time. It happened again. Like 30 minutes later.
Yeah, it's like things got back in motion. All right, we're fine. And then in the middle of a scene, just boop, that one eye drops again. I'm like, except this time it was just strobing back and forth, on, off, on, off. And fuck me, that was aggravating.
Hey, I had my glasses off, so like
then for like 30 seconds it did that, and then just freeze frame again.
And I was sitting there like, it's gonna happen again. She's gonna take this fucking movie back again. Fucking Christ.
Yo, dude, we get to see it twice in one night.
Oh my God.
And as soon as it froze, like it took like 4 seconds between when it like froze. I heard one guy go, ah.
Yeah.
And then it was like, okay, guys, we're still having some technical difficulties. Like, fuck, you were just waiting here for it to break again. You were waiting right goddamn there for it to break again.
Shit. They didn't take it back, though. She said, we can't fix it, so you'll just have to see it in 2D. It's like, but I'll be so confused! So anyway, much like the Bye Bye Man, at least this movie didn't cost me anything.
Just an extra hour.
Yeah, just an extra... Fuck me. So, nothing bad happened to the projector again after that, but man, when it got to that third act, it felt like we were in there for like 4 hours. Like, seriously, like I was thinking back to like the opening scene that was Pirates of the Caribbean Fast 5 with this bank heist, dragging a safe in a church by the world's strongest horses.
It was like 6 horses, and they were pulling a building. By the way, for those of you who fast forwarded, we're talking about the fucking video now.
Yeah, honestly, the thing is, like, you could probably just watch our review of the 4th one, and it will be the same goddamn fucking review. Except I don't think there were any projector issues in that. And it was one of the older ones, so it was, like, handheld in the car. And
So our video was just as dark as the movie.
yeah, it's probably just as dark as the movie. I think there were 5 of us in that video. Shit for Brains might have been in it.
Oh yeah, because we were in like 2 different theaters, like a couple in like the 3D and a couple in the 2D.
Yeah, this for a
I
show.
don't remember why we did that.
I have no idea. For a show that is just 2 people sitting in a car reviewing movies in front of a camera, like, why did it have a test season? Like, what's with holding the camera like this? Why are there 5 people in the review? Why are different screenings? Like,
How
man.
did it take us so long to just think, or we could just set it on the dash?
Yeah, it's like, why does this show have a beta season? So, the nicest thing I'll say about this movie is the storyboards are probably beautiful. Honestly, if you look at some storyboards of like the wall of water at the end and like the concept art of like the pirate ship that comes out and like swallows whole other pirate ships, it probably looks great. Too bad this is a fucking movie I've seen 5 fucking times now.
Well, in for all the flack that like The Force Awakens got for like, it's basically just New Hope again.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? This is exactly the same movie as the first fucking movie.
It's the same as all of them.
Well, but even more so, like they even like oh, here's these 2 here that are basically direct analogs for Orlando Bloom and Keira Knightley.
Yeah, and they
Like,
are so bad. I missed those 2 characters from the other movies. Like, Orlando Bloom and Keira Knightley are in this, and their scene at the end, I was sitting there going, all right, they were my least favorite parts of the earlier ones, but God, if I had known how much worse, like, a couple like this could be in a movie, I don't know if I would have complained as much, because when they show up at the end, I don't even think Keira Knightley has...
She doesn't even have a line. She just runs up and... That was a fucking weird scene for me, though, because she comes over the horizon from... I don't know where she was hiding, but she just comes up over the horizon. Orlando Bloom's down there looking like fucking Axl Rose now.
Yeah, like, they
just go running at each other across this field, and you're like, oh man, it's the big swell of music and the romantic scene, and then they run up and just hug like 2 friends who haven't seen each other in like a couple weeks. Like, hey,
honestly, dude, they had a million times more chemistry than the other couple in
this. But even in that one scene, like, that was
like, I felt it. Like, comparatively speaking, like, I totally felt it. And even Orlando Bloom himself looks a million times more leading man material than the younger guy in this movie. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, maybe I need to watch the first one again, which I like. I mean, the earlier movies I like just fine. The first 2 at least.
The first one I enjoyed.
I always felt they were too long, but other than that...
But that was before, like, Jack Sparrow became just a one-note caricature. I mean, granted, he's basically the same as he was in that one, too, but it's just like, they're like, okay, all the insane antics, people loved that, so just stick to that bullshit.
Yeah.
I mean, there wasn't a whole lot aside from that, but it was...
It would have been fine if the movie was better. If it was a better film. This whole movie could just be described as... You say a plot point about this movie and follow it by the word again. That's this whole fucking movie. Like, the Orlando Bloom is now like his dad from the second movie, and the son has to find something to lift his curse. So it's that again. There's a ghostly pirate figure who's a sadist and he wants Jack Sparrow dead. Again. There's an important character that dies at the end of this movie, but I've also seen that before. Like, there's nothing emotional there about it. I'm like, oh no, he's never coming back.
And in a movie like this, it's like, you know what? If he shows up in the next one...
Of course he will.
It's like, okay.
Uh-huh. That's how I felt when he died. I was like, okay. And
like, a character being written out of this movie is the same as, like, a death in a comic book.
Or a death in a Fast and the Furious movie. I mean, this franchise, like, I understand why it's still going in the sense that, yeah, they make money and everything, fine. But, I don't know, just breathe some life into this shit.
Yeah, the quality is just getting worse and worse. It's like when you make a photocopy of a photocopy.
Mm-hmm.
At first it's not bad, but if you just keep doing that, eventually, like...
It's tiresome.
It will, and you start to see, like how how far from the original it is. Like, how, it's not as clear anymore, and it's just shitty looking. It's like, and that's where I feel like this is going. It's a copy of a fucking copy. Like, it's losing everything. Like, they basically, like, finally came up with a solution for, like, and now we don't have to bring back any characters except for Jack Sparrow.
And they, like...
But even then, like, characters they couldn't get back, like Barbossa's couple guys, like, I forget their names. The bald guy and the skinny guy who was on The Office.
No, it's okay.
Like, there was just, like, two different guys who were basically those characters, just they were two different guys.
And instead of having Keith Richards in this movie...
Oh, yeah, of course.
Wait, Paul McCartney is in this.
And here's my thing. That scene was shot after principal photography was done. They went back...
Really?
...to do that scene.
Mm-hmm.
So that they could have Sir Paul McCartney in the movie. So they took the fucking time to go back to put in that scene. I'm like, what was gained by this? If you cut
Mick
that...
Jagger said no.
Like, if you cut out that, like, 3-minute long scene, not one single fucking thing changes. That character is never mentioned again. Like,
it was a better...
It makes no fucking sense why it was even done in the first place, other than so that Paul McCartney could be in the movie.
It was a better cameo than, like, Pamela Anderson in Baywatch that I saw a few days ago, in which she just walks in slow motion and says nothing, and that's it. And it took me a second. I was like, is that Paul McCartney in this movie? What?
I missed track on that for a second, because I thought you were saying that about Baywatch, too. It's like, is that Paul McCartney? No.
It's Pamela Anderson.
I get those two confused all the time.
I was fooled by the giant tits. So,
yeah, well, and the only reason I fucking knew it was Paul McCartney is because I saw a thing the other day that said, like, oh, Paul McCartney's in this movie, and, like,
I didn't know.
In the prison scene. I'm like, all right, that'll come up at some point. Because Jack Sparrow has to get arrested in every one of these movies, I think. Don't they break him out of jail in every single fucking
of course
now?
Of course. And he's always... You know what? I mean, I'll say this about Jack Sparrow. I mean, if you have somebody take over this franchise, like, I don't know, off the top of my head, a David Fincher or somebody, like, you could probably breathe some fucking life into this.
Go dark with it.
Yeah, honestly, like, I mean, this is a Disney movie that's got severed heads and, like, fucking STDs all over the goddamn place in this thing. So, but with the... I know it's easy to jump on, like, the Johnny Depp hate train right now, but, like, I'll say this. Like, when Johnny Depp is sleepwalking through something, which I'm guessing he's probably kind of doing here, like, I'm guessing he probably... The passion probably isn't here in this that was in the first one.
Even if the will was there, wasn't this made when it was, like, the whole, like, him and, like, Amber Heard going through their very open, bitter divorce?
I don't know. I mean, a movie like this was going to get made regardless of that happening. But
I think, like, he would have showed about the same amount of interest in doing this film.
But at least
that's how the last one was too. He had like, you could obviously tell, like, it was just like phoning it in, like, got it, hammy bullshit. I got it, guys.
Yeah, but he still turns in a rather physical performance. Like, he is still doing his job, like, whether he wants to be there or not, which the answer is probably no, that he doesn't want to be doing this shit anymore, but he's not boring, he's not Eddie Murphying this shit. He's not Bruce Willising it from the last several movies I saw him in. It's not that. He is still there to do a job, and his job is to play this character. He's not boring. He still does a lot of physical comedy, a lot of physical shit. He's falling all over the place. He is still going about the movie like he's like an old silent film physical comedian.
Yeah, it's some Buster Keaton shit.
Yeah, it is. It totally is. There is that still there. So, and Jack Sparrow is, when it's done best, it is a fun character. So the fact that an actor like Johnny Depp, regardless of the material, will still turn in a weird performance. I mean, fuck, last year in Yoga Hosers, which was one of the worst movies of last year, I can't say he was sleepwalking through it, or if he was, I mean, he was still doing a character. And same with this, like, if you got someone to breathe some life into this, and not the writer of Crystal Skull, because that's what this movie is. It's
and
just
Speed 2, credit where credit is due.
A better movie than this.
A movie about a ship eventually hitting land.
It's just shit I've seen before, over and over and over again. Nothing new added to it at all. It is just something that you've seen this 4 times before, you've paid for it 4 times before, so we're going to give it to you again. We're not going to add anything to it. It's just going to be more set pieces that don't really mean anything. Big climaxes that would feel fresh if it weren't the same shit I've seen before, or at least in the same arcs, because again, it's all just chasing another MacGuffin, and it's the same thing where it's like,
we need this. Oh, but now we need this.
Yeah, it's like we need the trident, but first we need the diary, which leads to the map that no man can read. But there needs to be the blood moon, and if you step on this block and follow these blocks, the golden gun will open up, and then Sean Connery will give you the tabernacle from Zarda. It's like, fuck. Man,
cut that shit in here. That would have made it an interesting finale.
Yeah. For a movie called Dead Men Tell No Tales, it has a scene of a dead man telling a tale.
Which he ends by saying, dead men can tell no tales.
You just did.
It's like, I tell him myself, but dead men tell no tales. It's like, except for the one to explain that you can't.
That flashback should have been the opening scene in the movie. Like, seriously, because when they first of all, I already know where it's going because they show it in the trailer, where it's the young Jack Sparrow and everything. That happens in an exposition dump halfway into this movie, maybe even more so.
Oh yeah, that was practically to set up like that was like to set up the end of Act 2. The
first scene in the movie, though, our villains are introduced like it's like they're the pirates from John Carpenter's The Fog. Like, honestly.
It's like, oh no, pirate ghosts.
I love that movie. I love that movie so much.
I remember when I was a kid, the first time I watched that one, I'm like, it's like, well, this is interesting. What's this about? Like, I like a lot of other John Carpenter films. I haven't seen this one. Like, the other ones are all good. Like, let's see what this is about. And it's going, I'm like, okay, it seems, building a little tension. You got Adrian Barbeau, like, okay, there's some good things happening. And then, pirate ghost outside the door. It's like, what?
My reaction to that movie is like,
they just want their gold back.
John Carpenter found a way to make pirate ghosts kind of creepy. Like, it's still really moody. And in this, I'm like, yeah, I just want to be watching John Carpenter's The Fog. I'll give it this, it's better than the remake of The Fog. This one's a lot bloodier, and it's a Disney movie. But in that flashback scene with Javier Bardem, it was like the only scene where his character was kind of intimidating, because it's the only scene where I wasn't distracted by all the shit CGI covering him.
I was gonna say, it was also nice too, because it was the only scene where I could understand a single fucking thing he was saying.
Thank you. Yeah. Like, yeah, I couldn't understand. Granted, it's not like I was heavily invested in this film. Plus, maybe the 3D was out, and you know how confusing that gets.
but there were quite a few times in this between like his accent, some of the other people's like affected accents that they were doing. There'd be like a back and forth exchange. I'm like, I have no fucking idea what they're saying. Like, not even like being like not exaggerating, not being hyperbolic about it. I could not fucking understand what they were saying. I'm like, clearly it's words, but like somebody would see something like I'm like, I don't know what that was. I didn't catch it, and then it pans over like, oh, there's a boat there. I guess maybe he said, hey, there's a boat. I don't know.
I was too busy being distracted by his stupid CGI hair. Like, and I was thinking like, I'm like, I can't.
He's a little Japanese girl ghost.
Yeah, like with his fucking hair, I'm sitting there like
he's got a grudge.
Yeah. Like, I think I know what they're doing here. It's supposed to be like, okay, because he died in the water and his hair is kind of moving like he's still in water. Yeah, it looks like shit. You should have just made his hair wet. What the fuck? That was awful looking. It was so distracting. Anytime he moved his head or did anything, it was like that fucking jellyfish alien from Life. Only black. God, and so yeah, that was really fucking distracting. But again, I didn't give a shit. Like, I don't give a shit about this movie, man. I wasn't in the mood for this.
I think Javier Bardem just likes playing like super weird villains. Because I noticed like, and he's in plenty of normal roles too, but like, usually if he's a villain with a weird hook. You know, like his character in this one, or
Skyfall.
The insane weird shit that he was doing in Skyfall.
Hell yeah.
Or even like his like big like breakout role in No Country for Old Men. Like, he's always if he's gonna be a fucking bad guy, he's gonna be the weirdest goddamn guy in the room.
And I could dig that in this if he didn't have the effects from the asylum floating around his fucking head. Or if it was mostly just how he was in the flashback, where he was significantly more intimidating, honestly. Yeah. And then at the end, I don't know if you were thinking the same thing, but with the whole like parting of the ocean that they do at the end, and it's like a race to get to the top of it via climbing up a chain before they collapse. With everything else in this movie, I was like, I don't think this will kill them. Like, were you thinking that too?
Yeah, it's like, okay, granted, they're a fair way down,
but but not far enough down to where the anchor didn't reach them.
Yeah, exactly. Like it I don't know how far it could have been, but it couldn't have fucking been that far. And yeah, like I was thinking that too. It's like the stakes couldn't possibly be more in the middle.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, are they?
Because there was even that scene at the very beginning when like, I cannot remember his name at all. The kid, where he like ties a bunch of rocks to himself and throws himself in the ocean so he can land on the Dutchman. Like, he survived that just fine. Like, I'm pretty sure, and that thing was at the bottom of the fucking ocean.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm pretty sure that he can do that again now that he's a grown man.
All our evil pirates at this point have become real again because by the end of the movie, ocean curses don't exist anymore. Spoiler. So, they're racing to this anchor to climb up it before the water walls collapse. And I'm like, okay, I mean, like, maybe pressure or something, but I'm like, since when does this movie give a shit about fucking physics? Like, really? Like,
we 2 hours before that watched 6 horses run a building across a city. Yeah, I think, yeah.
I was like, just jump in the water wall right next to you.
Yeah,
and
before it's rushing in, just go over there and just start swimming. Just like pop your head in and out as you go your way up. Like catch a breath and then duck back in. Like, I don't fucking know.
It's another reason why I'm like, the character who dies at the end, I'm like, he's probably fine. Most of these characters should be fine.
They had the anchor like halfway up by that point. And he only really fell like... I mean, sure, granted, it's a fair distance to fall, but he maybe fell like 30 feet. And not even onto flat water. It was churning, so it shouldn't have been that hard of a landing to start with. Because it's the surface tension that causes the hit. So since the surface tension was already broken, he should have just like fallen on in a lot easier. But yeah, he didn't fall any farther than like if somebody was doing like an Olympic high dive or something like that.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe the distance he fell. It's like he can swim,
but we got to think he's dead, so that way we'll be surprised when he pops up in the next one.
just like how that happened before when we thought he was dead and he popped up in the next one.
I guess there's a post-credit scene in which a character we thought was dead before is going to be in the next one. If they make another one of these, I'm guessing this will probably make money. I'm sure
it's probably already turned its budget and it's Saturday.
Worldwide, probably, yeah. Like domestically, I don't know if this movie will make its budget back. Worldwide, sure, I could see it doing that.
But
so
I mean,
strap yourselves in.
I think this one too was like the most expensive one so far.
Oh God!
But I mean, honestly, saying that like a movie is the most expensive ever done at this point kind of seems dumb to even point out, because next month another movie will come out that is the most expensive movie ever done. Like I remember like at a point, like what was it, like Terminator 2, like this is the most expensive movie ever made for $100 million. I'm like it costs that to make a movie now. Like it costs that to make a romantic comedy that's just like nothing special.
Yeah.
It costs $100 million to make a bad movie now.
It cost it because of like all the shit throughout production. I think the budget for like Town and Country with Warren Beatty was like $90 million. Wow. Jesus. I don't recommend this at all. I don't.
No, if you're curious, rewatch the first one, and every time they say their name, assume that they said something else.
And the thing is, it's largely because I just don't see... There were maybe a couple of times that I chuckled at Jack Sparrow, because it is an entertaining character.
Well, I mean, it's the sort of thing, like, you could go to a comedy club and, see a guy who can't deliver a joke, and you'll still maybe laugh once or twice. It's like... Yeah,
that's
like,
a good point.
You tell enough bad jokes, one has to hit. And that's kind of where...
And when it's a character that we've seen... This is an Oscar-nominated character. Like, he was nominated for an Oscar for this. So it's one that's been proven before can certainly work. So, yeah, because of that, like... Sure, there was a few times that I might have lightly chuckled or was amused at some shit. I mean, the guillotine part was interesting, but there's no point in watching this. I can't recommend this as like to see on Netflix or even like as a rental, because there's no point. There's no point in wasting 2 hours on this movie.
Well, and there were things that happened in this that, in my head, I was like, I don't remember that. Like, should I have watched... Because it's been a while since the last one came out, and it's been a fucking long time since the first one came out. But for me, it was like, certain things, I was like, it's like, oh, Barbossa has a peg leg. Did he have a peg leg before? Maybe he got his leg cut off in one of the other ones. Should I go back and watch him? I don't give a shit. He's got a peg leg. Cool.
Just go to the Pirates Wiki. It'll be on there. His peg leg will have its own page.
Probably.
It has its own action figure, like the meat from Rocky.
But yeah, it's like certain things is like I had just completely forgotten about this series of movies.
Mm.
Like, whenever, like, his, that, like, witch character he went to, that honestly probably had the coolest character design out of anybody in the movie.
Mm.
I was sitting there the whole time, I was like, do we know her? Has she been in these before? I don't know. Probably don't give a shit either. Because it's like, she's in it for, like, 2 scenes and really doesn't do much except for, like, instantly move the plot along.
That's what...
Cause, like, for no reason...
that's what these last few movies have been.
Because, yeah, for no reason, Barbossa's like, oh, I need to go talk to her specifically. And suddenly it's like, oh, here's the compass. It's like, why do you have this? He's like, I have my ways. It's like, guess we'll just drop it there then.
I was refilling my drink. That was an annoying process too. There was another movie that was about to start, so there was a line over at the drink fountain. There was some girl.
The 3D stopped on the freestyle machine, so everybody had to go back and get their drinks again.
I didn't know what was going on. So like, it was a girl and her boyfriend in front of me, and the girl's like trying to get the ice thing to work. That's taking forever, and then she's taking forever to decide on a drink. She picks one. I'm like, all right, fine. And then her boyfriend comes, and just like, the ice is coming out, but it's coming slowly, and he's got a large cup, and I'm like, you're gonna wait until that fucking thing gets to the fucking top, aren't you, you son of a bitch? So he did, and then he goes, oh, that's too much ice, and pours it out, and it was still on the screen that his girlfriend was on the machine, and he's like, what do I want? He exits out of that, looks through a few, then goes back to the same one that his fucking girlfriend was on and picks the same exact goddamn thing that she got. I don't know why I was that mad. It's not like I was missing a movie that I liked. Like, you know.
At that point, it's just one of those things where it's like when somebody's like driving slower than I would like them to be, like, on the road. Like, unless I'm heading into the office, I have nowhere that important I have to be that fast.
Yeah.
But it's just obnoxious.
That's what this was. And
it's like the speed limit's 45. You should be driving at least 50, 55. But you're actually driving 45. Speed the fuck up. Mm-hmm. I want to go faster than you, but I can't because you're so fucking slow.
You're right.
I don't even have anywhere to be.
Yeah. I don't even know where I'm going.
Like, I just went out for a fucking drive to clear my head.
Wasn't in the mood for any of that. Like, seriously, movie included. Like, I was in, for Nick's bachelor party, I was in Chicago last weekend. So, what's today? Saturday?
Yeah.
So, Thursday night, we went out drinking, which I rarely do anymore. But whenever I do, it's a 2-day process afterwards. The first day afterwards is I'm hungover, a bit sick, and I'm just laying down and waiting for that shit to pass. The second day is a whole different process. All that shit's out of me, so it's like I'm sweaty, I feel old, and I'm depressed. That's what this movie is. It's sweaty, old, and depressed. That's my final thought on this.
I like the analogy there. It's like when you had the first one, like, yeah, it was, you know, it's 21. It wants to go out there, fucking mix shit up at the bar, stay out, break fucking dawn, shit, yeah.
Yeah.
And now it's like, I'd rather just be home, like, fucking just pull up some shit on Netflix and, like, it's like, ooh, I hear The Keepers is good. See what happened to that fucking nun. Let's have a couple beers. It's like, no, we gotta go do this. And then it's like,
doesn't that suck?
Drinking in your mid-30s. Bullshit.
Mm-hmm. In the last week, there's a couple of things that I saw that you should just watch over this. I saw the movie, it's called Christine, about Christine Chubbuck, the reporter who committed suicide on live television. That's on Netflix. That was a great fucking movie. I saw Amy Berg's An Open Secret, which will give you fucking nightmares for weeks. That's one of those disturbing fucking... Whoa. Yeah. So, both of those are way better to sit through than Pirates 5, and one of them's about pedophilia in Hollywood.
I saw a documentary up on Hulu the other day. I haven't watched it yet, but it was just about Lazenby as...
Oh, I still need to watch that. Yeah.
I saw that. I'm like, oh, I wonder if Brad's watched this yet.
Not yet.
Yeah, so far, I watched The Keepers last week.
Mm-hmm.
Really good. Super fucked up. Never going to Baltimore. And I watched Amityville Terror the other day, which, wow.
Is that the Asylum one?
I don't know who the fuck made it.
Yeah.
I don't think it was the Asylum. Yeah, I don't think it was them. Like, it seemed like a low-budget ripoff of an Asylum film.
Oh, great.
And it'd be like if we tried making an Amityville movie with the budget we have in our pockets right now.
Like one of my older movies. Yes. I have more money in my pocket right now than Freakout cost to make.
No, it's a fucking... Oh, it was a dog shit movie. I still watched the whole thing, though. But it was terrible the whole time.
Any final thoughts about this?
Watch fucking anything else.
Yeah.
Is there an Asylum knockoff of the Pirates movies?
I saw 20 minutes of one. It had Lance Henriksen in it. It might have been when like the fourth one came out. I can't remember.
Yeah, I remember after the first Pirates movie came out, they came out with like a porn tie-in.
I just did a snob episode on that last week.
I remember there was the actual full-blown, like, full penetration porn version.
Yeah.
And then, like, the R-rated cut, like, they had, like, Blockbuster and shit. It's like, you know what? Watch either of those, because you know what? At least at that...
Honestly,
like,
yeah.
I don't know. You could jerk off while you watch it. Like,
it's not good. Like, we had that when I worked with video, and, like, this lady got mad because she accidentally rented it for her kids, and that's on you, lady. That's not... Why did you think we only had one copy of a movie on the shelf that you thought was in theaters? Idiot. That happened quite a bit. But, yeah, Pirates, it's the porn one. It's big budget for a post-2000 porn, which means it looks like an Asylum movie. That just has fucking in it, that's all.
but I remember, like whenever I first watched that one, I'm like, it's like, they put a lot of effort into this for people to fast forward it and then just, like, spank it.
Right.
It's like, yeah, you guys are actually out on the ocean. I don't give a shit, though. Blow them ditties.
Evan Stone is way better in that movie than a lot of people are in this movie.
Well,
he's really trying.
He has screen presence and
does.
charisma. Like,
yeah, he really does. Like, honestly, that Pirates movie is kind of like Zapp Brannigan as a pirate, the movie.
I mean, if you ever get sick of putting pipe into chicks, like, he could easily just be, like, a go-to guy for some company like the Asylum.
Yeah.
It's like, we want, like, leading charisma, but without the price tag.
He was good. He was good in the movie. Okay, so then we kind of ran out of... Turns out we managed to talk for a while about this and the theatrical experience, so I freed up a few extra minutes on the memory card. So anyway, yeah, my final thought is, yeah, it's old, sweaty, and depressed. I don't like this movie. Don't go see it.
Yeah, seriously, just go watch anything else. Like, I'm sure there's still some other good stuff in the theater, or fucking just save your money. Like, there'll be something good coming out in like a week or so, probably. We're getting into the summer. Like, you're not gonna have any shortage of good movies to watch. If you're worried about, like, your budget, fucking wait. You know, like, yeah, the theater is expensive.
Especially now that there's an IMAX in there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like I know, like, a regular 3D ticket's like $14-15, so
regular is like $12.50 here.
It's gone down because it's the new normal.
Yeah, the IMAX was like $15, which is only $2 more expensive than the small drink and medium popcorn I got. No joke. So
also bullshit. They took away like the big cup size. Like, they don't have the big one anymore.
I'm alright with this.
Yeah, well, my problem though is like the medium is now the large, but it's
Yeah.
still the same price.
Yeah, this is the same price as like a regular, just fine. That is all I really need anyway. But hey, next week is Wonder Woman and Captain Underpants, I think.
So Wonder Woman.
I'll be,
Gah!
I'll be at both of them. See ya.